All right, incredible job by the Utah Jazz. Biggest comeback in New Orleans Pelicans history from CJ McCollum. Thank you, CJ. Let's talk about it. It's the Hoops Nerd postgame show. All right, guys. Happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day to everyone. Let's talk tonight about the game. It's not going to be as long tonight, just because we talked about the Pelicans a lot last time. I talked for an hour last time. So if you need to, go back and listen to that one if you are crazy enough to listen to this podcast. But anyways, Utah, this was a tale of two halves. Incredible game. In the first half, Utah did some things in the second half to make sure they lost this game. And I think the biggest thing that I get out of this is I am so grateful to the Utah Jazz. There's been a few times I've been ultra critical, and they deserved it, to be honest. Certain times they did, because they took their eyes off the prize and they got themselves in a bad situation. But now I take it back, or at least I feel as though the Jazz have repented and done what they need to do, and I'm very proud of them. I love what they're doing. They made this happen, and it's incredible. Now, it also took some players not taking over the game. I mean, Keyonte George and Isaiah Collier played absolutely gangbusters in the first half. They just crushed the Pelicans. Like we said, it was a 25-point lead at one point, and Keyonte George, Isaiah Collier, and Walker Kessler were absolutely incredible in that first half. And then the second half came, and they basically had to rest Walker Kessler for huge minutes. They ran Drew Eubanks for 19. They played, Kyle Filipowski played 38 minutes tonight, which is great. It's for his development, but it also helps you get to Cooper Flagg. And those 38 minutes, Kyle Filipowski had a double-double, but he was a minus 13. And so every single negative on here absolutely helped. Interesting that Filipowski was the biggest plus-minus along with Drew Eubanks. So it was a tale of two halves. Keyonte and Collier looked incredible. The percentages at the end of the game don't look great, but if you do it in two halves, Keyonte and Collier were awesome in the first half, not awesome in the second. And that's how the Pelicans came back. Also behind CJ McCollum, who scored, 45 tonight? Incredible game for him. DeJounte Murray, I think I dislike watching him play almost as much as Trae Young. What an absolutely brutal trade for the Pelicans. He is not very good. Just not an impactful winning player. This was CJ McCollum tonight. Look at that, 58% from the field. He was just incredible from three. Although it's interesting, it's 38%. But he hit some big-time threes in this one to win the game. 45 points. He was money. So let's just talk about it a little bit. Svi Mikhailiuk plays 26 in this one. It's crazy. He'll have nights like this where he just shoots the lights out. He is absolutely an end-of-the-bench rotation player for somebody. I don't know if he's good against really good teams, but against teams like this, I would say Svi Mikhailiuk is the perfect type of player to join. I mean, he comes from the Celtics, so it makes a lot of sense. He's the perfect type of player for that type of team during the regular season, when you've got guys that are out for injury or resting, especially if you're playing against a not a very good team. Svi Mikhailiuk can come in and he plays well. By the way, guys, do you hear that static, or is that just me? I'm hearing a little static. If not, whatever. Just let me know. But anyways, I think that he honestly should be on a winning team because he can play really well on certain nights that you need him, but he's not someone you're going to play every single night, because he just doesn't seem to do these things against the better teams. But against a team like the Pelicans, you see this: 7 for 14, 4 for 10. He played really well. 19 points, 4 rebounds. He was really good. And you can see Utah did not want to play him too much. They did not want to win this game. Another reason why the Jazz are doing incredible. That was another thing I just wanted to mention, and I thought about it before. I'm just really happy with what they're doing. This season has been about as nerve-wracking and stressful and emotion-packed as some of the seasons where Utah was going for it in the playoffs, right? just in a different way. Utah's absolutely going for it. In the SLC Dunk preview, I wrote that earlier. You can kind of see what I was talking about. But if you're a fan of like the Bulls or the Kings, or, I mean, honestly, you can just go through and look at some of these teams that are just always in the middle, like the Suns, the Hawks, just some of these teams that are always in the middle. They never get out of it. Toronto, although Toronto's tanking a little more this year. Those teams, Portland just doesn't know how to absolutely pick a lane. These teams that are just kind of fine being okay, and then near the very end, they kind of decide they want to go in a certain direction. Utah has decided early on, and it has made all the difference, because after tonight, Utah is more or less locked into that 3. 2 week, what a difference like a couple weeks makes, because Utah was in this 5. They were 2 games back of all of these teams. New Orleans gets Zion back. They've won 4 in a row. Charlotte has figured things out. They've won 3 in a row, including one against the Jazz. And now Utah finds themselves really locked into this top 3, which is great. And I've mentioned this online a little bit. I wrote about it. Toronto and Washington play each other 4 more times the rest of the year. And if you look here, one thing I love about Tankathon is they have remaining schedule strength. Look at this. Utah has the number 1 toughest schedule for the remainder of the season after tonight, because they just got rid of the Pelicans, lost to them. They lost to the Hornets. They still have to play the Pelicans one more time. Do they have Zion in that game? They have Charlotte one more time. They have 2 times with the Portland Trailblazers, who, by the way, everyone who said all their stuff about Scoot Henderson has been balling the last 5-6 games. Go look at the numbers. He's been awesome. They need to trade Anthony Simons like 2 years ago. But anyways, Scoot looks incredible, and so I wouldn't be surprised if the Jazz lose to that one, because they'll also get what's his face back, their new center they drafted, who is great. What's his name? They call him. What's his name? If anyone remembers, let me know in the comments. But anyways, Utah has these tough teams, but look how many times they play these good teams. They've got to play OKC 3 times, including day after tomorrow. Boston, Houston. They're going to lose a lot of these games. Toughest schedule for the rest of the season, the Utah Jazz. And we talked about this before the year, because the Utah Jazz schedule was kind of front-loaded. I don't know. This is crazy. It's working out absolutely perfect for Utah. But look who has the easiest schedules to end the season. Washington and Toronto. Like we mentioned, they play each other 4 times. They've got to play Toronto, Brooklyn, who looks horrible. Washington has to play them 3 times still. Portland, Sixers, same story for Toronto. There really is a world. Klingon, exactly. Thank you, KG10. Like Scoot and Klingon looks like an absolute duo. Absolutely. They look so good. It's just, if the dumb Blazers could pick a lane, like just run Scoot. Turns out he's really good if you don't have freaking Anthony Simons taking all the shots and giving all the bad shot clock attempts to Scoot Henderson, right? Let Scoot cook. It's not that complicated. You get a number 3 pick, you play him. Could you imagine if the Jazz win the number 3 pick this year and get like Ace Bailey and they put him on the bench for 2 seasons? Could you imagine that? That's what the Pelicans have, not the Pelicans, the Blazers have done with Scoot. It's just bad team management. That's just like a team that's not serious. Like, that's why they're always bad. Why do you play your young players? 1, to develop them, like Utah Jazz are doing right now with Keyonte George, Bryce Sensabaugh, Isaiah Collier. But you also allow your team to lose the requisite amount of games. If you're signing Jeremy Grant to a supermax, and you're playing Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton, who you shouldn't have traded for, over your number 3 overall pick, what are you doing? Could you imagine if the Utah Jazz drafted Cooper Flagg and benched him for a year and a half, 2 years? And then if he didn't play as well, young players, and didn't get the first team reps or whatever, and then everyone said he was a bust? Could you imagine if Utah did that? Because that's what the Blazers are doing. And I know Blazers fans want to make comments online, but I'm sorry, you're wrong about your own team that you watch every day. Anthony Simons is overrated. You should not be playing guys over your young draft picks, especially if they're top 5 picks. Especially. Top 10 picks for sure. But if it's a top 5 pick, a top 3 pick, and you're not playing him, what are you doing? What are you doing? Anyways, moral of the story is I think the Blazers are going to beat the Jazz. And I think it's because Scoot Henderson is legitimately a very good player. Who knew? The number 3 pick, if you gave him time and set him up to succeed, he'd succeed. Who knew? Who knew? Anyways, let's get back to the Jazz. Like I said, tale of two halves. Cody Williams, by the way, the word is that he had a boot on, so he might be out for a while, which kind of stinks because, like we said with Scoot, he's a top 10 pick for Utah. You want to play him so he develops, and 2, because if it does help the Jazz lose games, that's fine. You're losing the right amount of games with your young players. Let them develop. Let them figure things out. Walker Kessler is an absolute stud. The roller coaster ride from year 1 to year 2 to year 3 is crazy. He is so good. And, you guys know how I am. If someone out there puts a big time offer on the table for Walker Kessler, like if some team like the Lakers say, we'll give you 2 post LeBron unprotected first round picks and we'll take the protections off the 2027, then I think you think about it. But man, is Walker Kessler good. And so you're probably not doing it unless you get something like that at this point. So Utah is smart to do that. I think you shouldn't just box yourself in and say we're building around Walker Kessler, because there are a lot of bigs out there like Walker Kessler that can do well. We're seeing that with Mark Williams in Charlotte. Yves Missy, the Pelicans tried to tank tonight by not playing Zion and not playing Missy. Missy is awesome, guys. And I ain't talking about the soccer player. That's Messi. This is Missy. Yves Missy on the Pelicans is really good. And you can find guys like that in the draft. So if someone gives you a big-time offer like that, you should take it. But you shouldn't take anything for Kessler at this point, because he is awesome. And he is going to be a starting caliber center for the rest of his career. It's very obvious. And really all he has to improve on at this point, and I guess tonight's not the greatest. This is great to see, 3 for 4 from the free throw line. You just want to see more of this. If Walker Kessler can be a consistent 75% free throw shooter, then he's there. There you go. You're good to go. Because he has better hands than Rudy Gobert ever did. He showed a few moves tonight where he could actually kind of score inside. He's not going to be Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or anything like that. But he is good enough that if you do have, like, the thing that really was bad about Rudy Gobert, and I think all Jazz fans understand this, it was not the defense. We all know that Rudy Gobert, incredible defender, he was at 100% not the problem on defense. And anyone who said that Rudy Gobert was the problem on defense is just wrong. The problem was on offense, teams could play players and guard him, and they didn't get punished for it. That's why the Clippers beat the Jazz in that series 3-4 years ago that we all, still remember, and it's going to be painful for the rest of our lives, is because Terrence Mann could come in the game and guard Rudy Gobert, and Rudy Gobert could not take advantage. He couldn't. So it allowed them to spread the floor, which got Rudy Gobert out of the paint, and that's what beat the Jazz. With Walker Kessler, that ball near the hoop, he's scoring. It's not going to be the prettiest thing in the world, but he's scoring. And so they can't do that. And then if you have him shooting 75% from the free throw line, they can't hack a Kessler either, right? We've seen that a little bit. A few teams have done that, and it actually worked. So if Kessler can just get this free throw shooting down to where he's a 75% free throw shooter, doesn't have to be Ray Allen out there from the free throw line, but if he can hit 3 out of 4 night after night, great. That's perfect, because then you punish them for fouling him at the end of games. Now, Utah has some interesting things. We talked about this during the playback. By the way, you should be watching the games with me on the playback. You can stream the game on playback, and we watch it together, and it's a lot of fun. We talk about the game together. It's great. Go to playback, search SLC Dunk, and that's where we watch. One of the things I love about Taylor Hendricks is, if Kessler isn't the greatest free throw shooter, one thing that Taylor Hendricks, I think he can do and is part of his future, is he can switch over to the center. And maybe at the end of games, you do have Taylor Hendricks at the 5, just so that they can't foul Taylor Hendricks. He's going to knock down the free throws. And if he plays center good enough, it's fine. Then that's a real weapon to have with Taylor Hendricks. And honestly, the future for this Jazz team is so exciting because if you can have bench units where Taylor Hendricks is playing stretch five and you have all these different guys like an Isaiah Collier having all that space, what we're learning about Isaiah Collier is he is an absolute weapon. Keyonte George as well. I want you guys to ignore these percentages. 35% from Collier, 30% from Key. They were being asked to take some really tough shots. And Utah set this game up to lose. They did a great job. But it also makes the numbers look bad. These numbers, they were both mid-40s in the first half. 50, 40, 90 stuff. They were playing great. And then to end the game, they just struggled. They both had to just take incredibly difficult shots. And that's just great experience. It's perfect. You learn, you grow, you go through your lumps, you get the loss, you get Cooper Flagg, and then all of a sudden Keyonte George and Isaiah Collier are that much more experienced, that much more ready for when he comes, and you just keep going. And by the way, Utah's getting Taylor Hendricks back. It's going to be Steve, upgraded membership to All-Star, Jazz Exile. No way, we got an All-Star! Welcome to All-Star. Guys, we got to give Steve the nickname. Uh-oh. And I think you're a new All-Star, Steve. Thank you so much. Well, let's see. Steve, what's the name here? Jazz Exile. What's the opposite of an exile? Because you are not an exile in the Hoops Nerd multiverse, okay? You are absolutely welcomed in. Guys, what's the opposite of exile? The opposite. We've got receive, admit, acceptance. The accepted. Jazz Patriot, maybe. The Jazz. Any ideas out there? Hey, now you're a rock star. That's pretty fun. I've been on like a Roman kick lately. Let's see. Let's see. Inclusion, welcoming, admission, approval, acceptance, permission, employment, favorite, jazz friend, idol, insider, hoops. So in Roman times, if you were banished in exile. So you're a Jazz exile. Let's see. Let's see here. Roman citizens were awarded the civic crown, the naval crown. Jazz victor. Capture the Steve, prodigal Steve. Prodigal Steve, that's kind of fun because he has returned from exile. Prodigal Steve, what do you guys think of that? There's also Steve Victor. I don't know if that works. Like Roma Victor. What's a basketball term? No longer. Let's see. Sorry, guys. This is important. When you join the All-Stars, this is what happens. Trying to think. Exile. Jazz exile. Steve. Sugar Steve. No. What's a famous Jazz nickname? We got Pistol Pete. We got Pistol Steve. Pistol Steve, Jazz exile. Prodigal Steve. Capture the Steve. Oh, okay. So what about like the grand return, something like that? Guys, I need more ideas in the chat. We gotta get this. Steve's. Believe in Steve. Capture the Steve. All right, there it is. I believe in Steve, Jazz Exile. Thank you for joining All-Star. I believe in Steve. Absolutely a big-time part of the Hoops Nerd channel, and I believe in Steve, baby. I believe in Steve at Jazz Exile. Welcome to All-Stars, Steve. I appreciate you a lot. All right, so Walker Kessler, core part of what the Utah Jazz are doing. I just think that you can't give up on a player like this. 19 points, 13 rebounds. He's going to shoot free throws. He becomes just a core piece of what Utah's doing. Marcus Stevius. I'm trying to think of some of them. Like when Roman emperors, when they were great and people loved them, they would be deified. I don't remember the name and how they'd say that in Latin. So we're just going to go, I believe in Steve, baby. I like it. It rolls off the tongue. We mentioned Keyonte George and Isaiah Collier a little bit. It's really a tale of two halves, and I'm not too worried. Utah was not trying to win this game. In fact, they ran these guys out there. A lot of these minutes were with... look, the guy who led the team in minutes was Filipowski, and he got all this run, and it's great. But he scored 10 and 17, which is nice to see, but a minus 13. 10 and 17, minus 13. He's figuring it out. The shot was not falling tonight, which helped the Jazz lose this game. A win is a loss. But anyways, I guess what I'm trying to say is the Jazz did an incredible job. It's funny. I follow on Blue Sky one of the Pelicans guys, and he's great. He does Pelicans. He's kind of like the Pelicans hoops nerd a little bit. His name's Shamit Dua, and his skeet made me I loved it. It made me so happy. In fact, I'm going to bring this over here to just share it with you guys. But the Jazz are committing atrocities to basketball this half. Nastiest tank job I've seen. I love it so much. I love the fact that the Jazz committed atrocities tonight to lose this game. So anyone who tells you that this is bad, it's because the Jazz committed atrocities, and it's amazing. And so, of course, I just put up this. I love it. So anyways, I am really proud of Utah for committing atrocities. There's nothing like a good atrocity that can just propel you forward. I mean, you need an atrocity here and there as a basketball team. Now, in real life, no. But nothing like a good atrocity, right? So anyways, Bryce Sensabaugh, he came down to earth a little bit. Look at this. 2 for 10 from 3, 4 for 14. He was running the ball with the ball in his hands. A lot different when you're just you have to create your own shot than getting set up, right? Atrocity, Steve? No, we can't call him an atrocity. Bryce Sensabaugh, I love what he brings as a catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Incredible. But when it comes to handling the ball, it's a little different. And it's very clear there's some development that still needs to happen there. Handling the ball, taking your own shot, creating your own shot. It's going to take something from him to get there. And so this was nice to see, but he came down to earth a little bit. He was absolutely on fire for during that Jazz stretch where they won 3 of 6. So yeah. Patty Mills, probably my favorite play of the game, and they didn't really show it, and there's no way for me to bring it up and show you, and it was kind of a message from last game, but there was near the end of the game. Steve, I appreciate it. Love the show. Decided up my game. Fully support atrocities to get a better pick this year. Yes. Well, I appreciate you a lot, Steve. Thank you so much for the support. You guys, truly, everyone who's a member, I appreciate it. And obviously, to the All-Stars, I especially appreciate it. You guys are incredible. But anyways, they were coming up the court, and Jose Alvarado, who was like running up the court and talking all sorts of smack to the Jazz, Patty Mills set a screen on him that I swear hurt Jose Alvarado's arm, and he missed his next 2 threes. He hit a third one, but it was absolutely a, Brett the Hitman Hart type clothesline. It was hard, and you could tell it hurt. And Patty Mills just showed some toughness out there that was incredible. So I was like, whoa. Now, he didn't help win the game, and that's okay. Patty Mills is for the cause, and that's great. He's for the atrocity, baby. Drew Eubanks continues to just be one of my more fun players to watch. We're going to see a lot of Drew Eubanks this year. Just get used to it. But sometimes he's Drew Chamberlain because he's hitting shots, and he had that dunk. And then sometimes he's Drew Russell or Drew Mutombo, and he's just like blocking shots like crazy. By the way, the Svi Mikhailiuk block was out of this world in the first half. Unbelievable. If you haven't looked it up, go look it up. That was, in fact, can we watch it? He has 2 blocks this game, by the way. Svi Mutombo for sure. Watch this block. 20-point game. Collier trying to get to the rack on a drive. Watch this block. Okay, so they're coming up. This is insane. Wow! Oh my gosh! That was crazy. Guys, if you didn't see it live, that was one of the most insane blocks of the year, courtesy of Svi Mikhailiuk. Holy crap. Now that's a if there's one thing their Ukrainians know how to do is stop the offense, right? Shout out Svi Mikhailiuk, baby. So anyways, Drew Eubanks, get used to Drew Eubanks playing. We're going to see a lot of him. There's times where he is Drew Chamberlain. There's times where he's Drew Mutombo. There's times where he's Drew Mikhailiuk with a block like that. Holy crap. But then he also has times where he's Drew Eubanks and he is a -11, and it helps the Jazz get Cooper Flagg. And it's perfect, and I love it. And I honestly, though, the thing is Drew Eubanks, if he's your third center, that's great. He is actually pretty solid. I don't know if you're playing him big time minutes in the playoffs. If you're a playoff contender or championship contender, maybe. I think in the playoffs you can play Drew Eubanks for 10 minutes and get away with it, and he can be pretty solid. He's a pretty good defender. He's not going to be someone you want defending against their number one option at center for sure. There's no way you want Drew Eubanks guarding Nikola Jokic, but who does well, you know what I mean? I think Utah needs to keep him as long as they can because he's great. As long as he's not Drew Barrymore. Exactly. Well, maybe that's what you call him when they're losing. He's Drew Barrymore. He's Drew Chamberlain, he's Drew Mutombo, and then sometimes he's Drew Barrymore. Elijah Harkless is a solid defender. He's not shooting it great. He played 10 minutes and was a -7. By the way, and I know you guys know my love for Key. Key had some defensive moments tonight that were awesome. Go watch the game, especially that fourth quarter. He was bodying up guys. It was exciting to see. It was really the first time I was like, there it is. Because Sarah Todd, who covers the Jazz for the Deseret News, she had an interesting quote. Keyonte George has not been coached. He said something along the lines of like, I have not had a coach get on me about my defense until Will Hardy, which is not a great sign for USA basketball, you know, because Keyonte George is a big time part of the AAU USA basketball pipeline. You know, the Montbert and all these guys, the top high school prospects. He showed it tonight. And we saw moments at Baylor where he showed he could defend if he wants to. And if he gets locked in and he really wants to, if he gets a little bit more strength, there is no reason why he can't be a good defender. And we saw it tonight. Go watch it. If you didn't watch it, go watch that fourth quarter. I'm not kidding. Anyone who, you know, just go watch. Proof is on the film. All right? Proof is in the pudding and on the film. And Isaiah Collier is a lot of the same thing, just absolutely tough as nails. This is a rookie season for Collier, and he's figuring things out. He's a little wild at times, but that's what rookies do. But he's doing great things. I mean, 1 for 2 from 3. He's hitting his threes. That's like 4 of his last 6 games. Collier's hit a 3. We did it, and it's before tonight, so it actually got even better. But in Collier's last 6 games, he's shooting 31% from 3, which is much different than the like 1 for 20 or whatever it was that he started. All of a sudden, he's in the low 30s. After tonight, for sure, in those last 7 games, it's exciting. So that's something we'll have to watch and just see from kind of that point on. It really feels like Collier is more comfortable shooting the ball. So that's pretty exciting. If he can this offseason just get even better and improve and continue to improve, and then next season all of a sudden Collier's shooting threes, it just things get real interesting up in Jazzland real quick, you know. So that's fun to watch, and he's so fast and so strong. And then you've got the skill of Keyonte George, but he's also got to get the efficiency going. He's got to just get more efficient. Nights like tonight are rough. This is why his percentages started off bad. I don't know. And I'm going to have to take my own medicine and just forget about the second half, because the first half looked incredible. But, you know, when you're playing bad teams, you're going to look incredible. Can you do great things when everything is tight and difficult and you've got 100% defensive effort from the other team with good defenders? Can you still be efficient? That's the superstars. So we'll see. I think that's all I got tonight, guys. That was a fun game. I did not expect the Jazz to lose this game. The Jazz were up by 25. They did what it took. Shout out to Will Hardy and the organization, all the way from Justin Zanuck, Danny Ainge, Ryan Smith. Great job. Absolutely incredible job. I appreciate what they're doing, because the Jazz are competing hard. It's just in the other direction, but that's what you've got to do. Never stop competing. Never stop doing what it takes. Never have too much pride to not do the right thing, and that's what the Jazz are doing. There's a lot of people out there that don't get tanking. Well, you know, there's a lot of things I don't get, but if you are in this and you understand it, you understand the. And even if it's not Cooper Flagg, if Utah gets a top 5 pick, they're getting a stud. And I'm telling you right now, so we can do this. In fact, let's start, well, even if let's say Utah gets like the number 1, like things go great and Washington bypasses and Utah gets jumped by 4 teams, they still get a top 5 pick. They're still coming out of this with VJ Edgecombe or Jack Kusonis. And maybe Yegor Demon. Yegor Demon's dropped. By the way, guys, look at this. The Wolves lost again tonight. Dante DiVincenzo, it looks like he's going to be out for an extended period of time. He is the shooting that they brought over for Karl Anthony Towns. They don't have it anymore. They lost tonight to, I think it was the Memphis Grizzlies. That put them at 13. And in fact, I want to go and just kind of look really quick. So they lose tonight. I doubt they play tomorrow. Let's hope they do back to back. Nope. But they play Wednesday. Who do they play? I mean, the Mavericks are missing Luka Doncic. And so they probably win this game, but you never know. I don't know. I just think that there's going to be stretches where they're going to be playing good teams with good defenses, and they're going to struggle to score. Man, they have a break there. The Nuggets, I just think they are going to struggle to win games. They're going to struggle to win games. And so I'm excited. Utah might honestly get a chance at having like a 10 to 12 pick from this Wolves team, especially if the friggin' Warriors and Spurs and Bulls and Suns can figure it out. The Suns look better since that trade, by the way. The Suns have that center. I think it's Nick Richards, is it? They traded from the Charlotte Hornets. They look better. In fact, what are the Suns doing? The Suns have lost 1, but they're 6-4 in their last 10. Minnesota is 5-5. That puts them on pace with Golden State. Can these teams kind of figure it out? They've been in, how has Chicago lost 5 in a row? But anyways, can San Antonio figure it out? I don't know. Maybe. It would be super cool if Utah could get Yegor Demon with the Minnesota pick, because it looks like that's where they have him going at 10. And I'm kind of getting big on drafting VJ Edgecombe. This guy is a 100 percentile athlete. He is averaging 3 steals per game. I know it dipped to, he was at 1.2, 3.1. It's at 2.9. 1 block, 3. I mean, that's 4 stocks per game. That's crazy. And there's talk about him being just like a transformational defender. It would be pretty fun to draft VJ Edgecombe and immediately have a guy who his ceiling is like best perimeter defender in the league. I mean, how cool would that be to have that guy going up against their best guy and just causing complete havoc and sadness and nightmares? One other thing I love about VJ Edgecombe, by the way, the nickname is the Villain, and I would not be sad about having the Villain in Utah. You know, you put him at the shooting guard next to whoever, Key, Collier, whoever earns out that position, and you start going young, and you have athletes at every position. I mean, come on. That's going to be fun to watch. And he's hitting his threes now. He's starting to knock them down. So pretty awesome stuff. All right, let's do our nightly tankathon. And a shout out to our All-Stars, including new All-Star, I Believe in Steve. I thought, where's my headphones? I've got them on. Oh, I had the headphones on all night. I don't normally wear them all night. I'm so used to putting them on. All right, really quickly, I just got to do this. Membership. Let's filter really quick. Sorry, I'm hurrying. All right, let's see. So, if the lottery was today, Utah is locked in the number 3 spot. Let's see what would happen. Oh my gosh, the Bulls jumped the Jazz. They get jumped by 3 teams. Holy crap, the Rockets jumped to 4. No way. That comes from the Suns pick. 8-8. There's no way. That would be the worst. And then the Brooklyn Nets get But Utah, no way. I'm not taking Concanopal at 6. No way. At this point, I'm taking Kama Malawach or Yegor Demon or Trey Johnson. I'm not taking Concanopal. Sorry. But Yegor Demon, I really like. I went and watched him courtside against Utah. He's fun. I really like him. I think he's one that, he's dropping because of the percentages, but I think he's going to be really good. He's one of those guys that don't be surprised if he's one of the 3 best players in the draft when all is said and done. I really like him. All right, guys, let's give a shout out to the All-Stars tonight. Let's give a shout out to I Believe in Steve, the Jazz Exile, Ryan Edward Perry, the Legend, Baby Elliott Matson, see ya, Alexa later, Christian House Money to Haas, Jordan the Goat Best Roll, Austin R. Grant, Editor Extraordinaire, KG10 to TH5, and Patrick Akubo, the Connoisseur. KG10 to TH5, the OG. All right, guys, that's all I got tonight. If you're new here, make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you would like to support the channel, hit join. It would be great. I would appreciate it. All right, guys, thanks for